Enthalpy is the total thermal energy content of a system. So the total thermal energy content is heat plus work. Now, enthalpy is what we call a state function. Because enthalpy is a state function, we cannot measure it directly. We can only measure a change in enthalpy. And so a change in enthalpy is abbreviated by that symbol right there. Now, during any chemical reaction, there is a change in the enthalpy. So the enthalpy of the products is different from the enthalpy of the reactants. So a way to measure the change in enthalpy is by this equation right here. Change in enthalpy equals enthalpy of products minus enthalpy of reactants. Now, because most chemical reactions occur at constant pressure and volume, the change in enthalpy is equal to the heat released or absorbed. So we can set change in enthalpy equal to heat released or absorbed. And we can measure the heat that's being released or absorbed, so we can measure the heat flow by change in temperature, which is this symbol right here. Now, change in enthalpy is negative for exothermic reactions. So in exothermic reactions, the enthalpy of products is smaller than the enthalpy of reactants. And so you can easily just determine that by looking at this equation. When the reactants are bigger, it's going to create a change in enthalpy that is negative. And in an exothermic reaction, heat energy is being released. And so the temperature is going to rise. And so that's why the change in enthalpy is negative, because energy or heat is being released. Now, as you can probably guess, change in enthalpy is positive for endothermic reactions. And so here, that's when the enthalpy of the products is larger than the enthalpy of the reactants, creating a positive change in enthalpy. And so for an endothermic reaction, heat energy is being absorbed. And so the overall temperature is getting lower. But that's why change in enthalpy is positive, because enthalpy is being absorbed, basically. The potential energy is constantly rising because energy is being absorbed. So that's a quick look at how enthalpy is the total thermal energy content of a system.